started now? Good afternoon, I'm Ronnie Holland and Dublin's first Poet Laureate, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our second poetry reading event. Thank you so much for coming, because I know we're competing with the Good Guys show, another reading in Livermore Library, and growing more beautiful at the Pleasanton Library. So, I know those are all big draws, but I'm glad you came because you're going to have a great time today. Old St. Raymond's was built in 1859 and remains the oldest extant Catholic church in Alameda and Contra Costa counties. You honor this sacred space by your presence today and by your attention to the words that are going to be spoken here. So to ensure we don't break the mood, please check now that your cell phones are either turned off or on mute. And another important thing you probably want to know is where the restrooms are. So they're not in this church. You need to go back along the sidewalk to your right, to the other white building, and you'll see a green sign that says restrooms. Go around to the back of the white building and go in that door. Okay, so I want to thank the City of Dublin for putting this on. John Hartnett is the manager of Heritage and Cultural Arts, and Lori, who is gone and has done this beautiful layout for you, is the manager of special events. So the plan is we're going to have all three featured poets read first, and then a few announcements and the break. And if there's any other announcements that other people in the audience want to make after the break, we'll start, and then we'll do the open mic with all the poets that we have here ready to read. So for this Three Humors event, we were careful to define it as not as three comics, but humors in the sense of playful wit. In medieval times, the humors were thought to control human health and emotion, giving rise to the sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholy temperaments. Joseph Addison, the poet born in 1672, wrote, "In all thy humors, whether grave or mellow, thou art such a touchy, testy, pleasant fellow, hast so much wit and mirth and spleen about thee, there is no living with thee, nor without thee." So let's not live another moment without our three fabulous poets. It's with great pleasure I introduce our first poet, Lee Rossi. Lee is a master in a skill we all need in these times, reinventing himself. Besides his ongoing skill as an author and poet, he studied 5 years for the Roman Catholic priesthood before leaving the seminary and pursuing marriage and parenthood. He has been a teacher, programmer, mail sorter, computer salesman, college administrator, busboy, and much more. Please welcome Lee Rossi.
I can't tell you how at home I feel in the Catholic Church. Yes. There are too many things here. Not enough places to put them. Okay. I was told that this was going to be I was told to prepare a child-friendly reading. And I even expected that my kids might come today, but when they found out it was a church and not a library, they decided that they would with the library they can always run off. My first poem is called, I wrote it a while ago, it's called When I Lost It. And in the intervening time, I lost even more. So, as you listen to this poem, you might keep that in mind. When I lost it. I was crossing a glassy stretch of middle age, the farther shore still not visible, when my mojo quit. My wife had turned gray, my daughter was angry about her breasts, and my son had wandered into a cornfield and wouldn't come out. I don't remember what actually happened, this is just how it felt. I checked the gas tank, and though I'd been driving for days, the tank was still full. I went to see my doctor. He simply took it out, my mojo that is, put it on the examining table, poked it, walked around it, slowly, as if it were a piece of modern sculpture. and said it looked fine to him. I felt better when I left, having it poked, having the doc say it looked okay. But it still didn't work. My wife could tell you, except she's too embarrassed. So I took it to a plumber. He pounded it for hours, sent his snake all through it, replaced a bunch of pipes with high-quality copper. Again, I felt better, like a test subject full of sugar pills, but still no mojo. I called my friends, who gathered around my bed. I'm not dying, I said, just depleted, like a battery or my bank account. Some said to eat less fat, more roughage. Someone said that I needed a vacation at one of those all-naked resorts in Jamaica. Judas said, there's always a Judas in every group. She said I never had no mojo to begin with. Maybe she was right. I stood up, or I tried to. I wanted to shove it in her face, but couldn't remember where I put it. Thank God for TV. Now that I've forgotten how to stand, I'm not speaking literally, of course, this is just how it feels. Television is the only thing I'm good at. I close my eyes and replay the story of my life. I'm still editing, adding characters, deleting birthdays, adding lots and lots of mojo. I would advise perhaps that you save your applause to the end, some of these won't be applaudable. They might be gaspable, but not necessarily plausible. This is called Encounter in the Dark. I'm not sure what this is about. This may be about a couple of failed marriages and several relationships in between. Encounter in the Dark. I met a girl whose voice soothed me, like the hum a telephone makes before you dial the number. It was so dark I couldn't see what she looked like. But I imagined she had short golden hair, had the short golden hair of a wheat field waiting for gleaners. Maybe I heard a bell. Maybe it was ice cubes in a glass. Fog swept across the street like a theater curtain. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Tires on the pavement, a distant siren, the roar of a jet immediately overhead. These were my thoughts. I tried to tell her how empty I was. I growled, sighed, screamed, emptying myself even of air. But she already knew. I was the man who said doormat when he meant raindrops. The man who trusted the wind, but not his sense of smell. I imagined that she touched my arm. It was a leaf, but I was comforted anyway. Nothing is accidental for the man who fears his life might have meaning. I waited for her to speak. I found myself learning to love the wait. Okay, and this poem is for my son who is not here. It's called Early Space Travel. I take my son into the dusk, under trees still heavy with the season's first rain. We watch as the entire face of the moon darkens, like a child with a bad cold. I show him my right hand, the earth, hides my left, the moon, from the sun, my son. He has a book which shows the solar system, so he knows that the moon rotates around the earth just as the mom orbits the sun. Where is the earth, he wants to know. Which earth, I ask. The one in the sky, he says, pointing at an invisible planet in the fragrant emptiness beyond the trees. The one blocking the sun's light and giving the moon a chill. You're standing on it, I say. He looks at me, perhaps wondering if all adults can lie so easily. Stay. This is called Leaving Tracks. This is for my daughter. Oh, I'm sure those of you who read Scientific American as religiously as I do know that A. afarensis is the scientific name for Australopithecus afarensis, one of our